photographer Platon. He has a new photo essay titled "The Defenders: Heroes of the Fight for Global Human Rights," a beautiful book now on sale. Throughout his career, Platon has photographed some of the world's most prominent figures, as well as human rights activists and their quest for justice. Platon, it's so great to see you. My goodness, this is really an achievement. And it's very heavy, I might add. But
10 pounds.
Is it 10 pounds? This is something else, and full of some of the best work over the course of your career. I want to talk about some of the people whose names people may not know, but let's start with some they do. And Vladimir Putin, in a photograph taken in December of 2007. For you, it's not just about the image, it's the story behind it. So what should we know about this photograph?
Well, I photographed him in his private dacha in the middle of a forest just outside Moscow. And I'm led into the building, gunpoint, snipers everywhere on a security wall outside. I remember he walks in with a giant entourage, and I said to him, Mr. President, before we make history together and capture this moment, I've got a question for you. I would like to know if you ever listened to the Beatles, because I was brought up by my parents listening to the Beatles. They translate in his ear, some confusing looks amongst his entourage. His mood drops, and in Russian, he orders the two translators and all his political advisors out of the room immediately. The bodyguards stay, and then he turns to me, and in perfect English, he says, "I love the Beatles." I said, "I didn't know you spoke English." He said, "I speak perfect English." So I said, "Okay, who's your favorite Beatle?" He said, "Paul." I said, "What's your favorite song? Is it Back in the USSR?" He did not like that at all. Then he turns to me and he says, "No, my favorite song is Yesterday. Think about it." And I've thought about it many years since I took that picture. And what he was doing is sending me a subliminal message about the old days of power and authority of the Soviet Union through a Paul McCartney song. And that human connection actually allowed me in. I ended up 1.5 inches away from his nose. I could feel his breath on my hand as I focused the lens. And that's how I got what I believe is the truth, that this is the face of power and authority in Russia. And I will say this, he's formidable, he's a strategist, and he's not to be underestimated. I believe he knows much more about us than we know about him.
And he's in the midst of reassembling yesterday, attempting to anyway, putting the Soviet Union back together. I can hear people, Platon, listen to your story about Putin and saying, how does he fit into the story of the defenders? So what is the theme of this book and how does he fit?
Well,